Yo, African Fight Farm, what's going on? Welcome back to the African Fighters Podcast. It's your boy JB back again. And today I am still here with the regular foe from London, England. However, you can see that there is a difference in his location. I wonder where he is at the moment. I'm not going to ask too many questions. How are you doing, King Dems? What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
My brother, I'm feeling blessed and grateful. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm grateful for life. How are you doing,
Yes,
bro?
ladies, I'm good. I'm good. Ladies and gentlemen, please do wish King Dems a happy birthday. His birthday is going to be in 2 hours, and it looks like he is out early to celebrate this birthday. Do you mind telling me? Because I'm not seeing your microphone. That means you are not home. Can you tell me
Yeah,
where are you?
definitely.
Because I was shy of asking you where you are at, but can you tell me and tell the audience where
we,
you
we,
day, my brother?
I, okay, I'm in East Croydon. You know, that's the. Some people argue it's in London. Some people argue it's sorry,
There
but
is God,
sorry,
oh!
not sorry.
There is God, oh!
There is God. There's gonna be out. We're out. For the early birthday celebration.
All right. Whatever you are doing, my brother, take them easy. Take them easy. Play safe.
Yeah, bro.
Like there is an ad that if you are Nigerian back in the days, you know a popular TV ad by Sunday Olise,
What
where
what's what's
in
what is the odd is that?
the ad is for Gold Circle, and he's like, play safe.
Whoa.
He would
Okay,
shoot the ball from the middle of the pitch, and it goes into the net, and be like, play safe. As a kid, I
yeah.
never knew what it was. I thought he was doing ad for football, but anyways. Uh,
Like,
what's up, guys? A few things to discuss today. Not really a few, quite a few, a lot maybe, depending on what you think. We are going to be talking about UFC Africa in a way, which is a bummer for us that it might not happen. It might be in Australia. That is Dricus versus Izzy. We'd also talk about Manel Kape and the juju that has been placed on his head. We'll talk a little bit about Curtis and Allen from last night. Dabble into WWE WrestleMania Night 1 that happened yesterday. Yeah, quite a few. We're not gonna stay here too long because I don't want to keep the birthday boy away from his present. So, so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into it, here we
He
go.
shot you! He shot you!
Shock me. Shock me. All right. So we learned that Israel Adesanya and Dricus is likely going to happen in Australia. Um, I'm just gonna read an article here because I just want to put some reference down and construct a bit so you understand where we are at. I'm just gonna read a bit. So it says Adesanya fires back at Duplessis. By the way, this is from MMAnews.com. And the bad blood between UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis and former title holder Israel Adesanya could be felt the minute they locked eyes following the South Africans' win in UFC 290. Now the feud seems to finally be coming to a head following reports that Du Plessis versus Adesanya is being targeted to main event UFC 305 in August 17th this year in Perth, Australia. While this would give somewhat of a home edge to New Zealand's Adesanya for the fight, plenty have hoped that the two would clash in Africa, plenty us included. With both having roots in the continent, Adesanya was born in Nigeria while Dricus is a South African native. There was hope at one point that UFC finally hold a UFC Africa event when Adesanya, Kamaru Usman, and Francis Ngannou were all UFC champions. Those plans, however, now don't seem to be in the UFC's near future, unfortunately. There were rumors and reports that Du Plessis and Adesanya potentially serving as the main event of next week's UFC 300, which did not happen. According to Adesanya, he did say that Dricus turned down the fight. The last Stylebender fired back on his most recent YouTube video, appearing to remind his rival of the decision he made not to challenge for the belts in UFC 293, if you remember, against Sean Strickland. It would have been nice. This is, by the way, this is a quote from Izzy from his YouTube. It would have been nice if uh or Duplessis uh would have been like, yeah, let's fight. Adesanya said, but again, oh gosh, my pussy hot, so he didn't want to fight in UFC
What
300.
the hell?
It's all good. It's whatever. I got time of a day. He also said that I guess he didn't want to fight me, the king of Africa, in home soil. N word. You didn't want to fight me on home soil at UFC 293, so shut the f up. So Duplessis was guaranteed a title shot after defeating Robert Whittaker at UFC 290. He and Adesanya then exchanged words, and the rest is history. We know the story. So now this comes back to uh yo, we've got Christopher Graham here already. He says, "Great to have you back. Looking forward to UFC 300 edition." Yes, Christopher.
Yeah, that's
We
gonna be great, massive.
we cannot
Shout
wait,
out
bro. We can't.
Christopher Graham.
Yeah. So well, first of all, we know that Easy and Duplessis is inevitable. It must happen wherever it's going to be, in the Sphere, in Las Vegas, in T-Mobile Arena, in Miami, wherever, down
Yeah,
under, New Zealand, Australia,
it's a
wherever
banger.
it would happen. But our
It has to be
interest is for this fight to happen in Africa. However, it seems that it would not happen. If you would have noticed, I've spoken about this a long ago, or a long time ago, that we would not see a UFC event in Africa this year. Um, Mainly because of how the UFC operates with their business model. I could explain that forward. But let me take your reaction first, Kingdoms, with regards to this report that we might see Izzy and Duplessis in August in New Zealand. As the president of Israel Adesanya fan club that you are, please, can I get your reaction?
Whoa. I think it's kind of sweet and sad at the same time, right? So basically, given my little knowledge about how the UFC works, right, and my knowledge about logistics and event planning, I understand that a lot of these arenas, right, are booked like well in advance, right? But then the UFC doesn't get to disclose these arenas until a few months, after, before the event, and after these deals have actually been signed, sealed, and delivered. So I was hoping that they probably had something for Africa for this year, because last year Dana White was hinting at having something big happening in Africa, but apparently it seems like the numbers are not adding up for them to be motivated to bring it to Africa. Sad, but Dricus and Izzy have been hinting on their Instagram, accounts, about 3 or 5. So it means that the negotiations have actually gone very deep in terms of him headlining that card in Australia. And think about it, the way the UFC operates, you always need somebody from that particular area of the world, right, to headline that card. And Easy is the big name in the down under, given Volkanovski's unavailability right now, right? So it's just common sense that it's most likely what happened in Australia. Hopefully, let's hope maybe the rematch can happen maybe next year in Africa. We really want to see Africa happen. Let's hope and let's keep hoping. That's it from me.
All right. All right, so here's the thing. I've spoken about this in the past. UFC and WWE are in bed in business. They are under one parent company called TKO. And the WWE model before merging with the UFC is something where they don't do their pay-per-views. I think they call them premium live events. They don't do them in any city unless they are being paid to do so, which is a very good business model, because if you get paid to come to a city, you don't care about the ticket sales, right? For as much as you care, people can enter for free. Um,
Exactly.
Now that begs you, that makes you ask the question, right? Because UFC pay-per-view in Africa, South African government, Nigerian government, which government will be willing to pay? Obviously, it has a tourism angle in it. Any country that has like proper tourist destination that would like to do something like that just to hype up their country. But which country in Africa will be willing to pay the UFC to come? I give you, for example, I saw an article online where the Perth Australia deal with UFC for 305. A lot of Australians, most Western Australians, are putting pressure on the government for the reported amount of money they paid the UFC to come.
Wow.
Reportedly, they paid the UFC, Australian government, paid the UFC $16 million to host UFC 305.
Wow.
Now,
That's massive.
with that being said, which South African government will pay the UFC $16 million just to bring an event? Do you think Nigeria will do the same? So,
So I don't think the government would do that in Africa, but then you can have private sponsors that can bring up
yeah, but
something big.
private, so here is where is a bit tricky with regards to that. A private sponsor bringing the UFC to their country would be looking to make money, and that private sponsor
Definitely.
would have to be like some a company that would have their banners and their logo splashed everywhere. But then the
Mhm.
UFC is an American business that they don't do deals like that. The deals they do is wherever we go, if you are on our cage, you are going to be printed on our cage. You understand? So because you come to my city doesn't mean that you pay for me to come doesn't mean that we are going to put your logo. I don't know if I'm making sense. So a business like Dangote, for example, for Nigerian reference, Dangote, for example, Dangote, if they bring the UFC to Nigeria, it doesn't make sense because what is the benefit for Dangote?
For them.
Which Nigerian business or which South African business will benefit from UFC exposure? Because the sport, to be honest, is not very popular. Will benefit from spending that type of money in Africa just to bring people across. This has to be something from like a tourism board of a government. And Perth, Australia, they hosted a UFC event 2 months ago called Elimination Chamber. They also paid similar amount of money to bring WWE in.
Wow,
So
they have a lot of money to throw around,
yeah,
man.
yeah, there's a lot of criticism from the indigents, from the natives there about the government
Exactly.
spending money.
Taxpayers' money, man. I can't imagine somebody
So
spending my tax that way, bro.
so like another thing you consider is all the money that Saudi has. They are trying to bring the UFC over, but the UFC insists on doing a fight night and not a pay-per-view. And that is because the UFC has already done all the deals for themselves for over a year now. Every pay-per-view they've already negotiated. So the Saudis cannot have a pay-per-view, they can only have a fight night that will be stacked up like a pay-per-view. So now for UFC Africa, where does it come in here? It's
It
certainly,
will be
certainly,
a fight night.
cer-
It will be a
certainly,
fight.
certainly, certainly, it's not gonna happen. I have totally given up. But again, as my mind is like a pendulum, it swings up and down. I probably would see something, read something somewhere, and I'll get my hopes up again. But
It's
unfortunately, we are not gonna see
someday.
UFC in Africa. Um, yeah. So that's it. You have anything you want to talk about Easy and Dricus again before we move on?
Wow. So I don't know. I'm just hopeful that the main fight would happen in Australia and probably sometime next year or down the line. We might see them fight in Africa. I'm not giving up totally on the idea of the African thing happening because last year Dana White was talking about it that they have a commitment towards having something in Africa, but we really can't know what the details are. And I think we need more journalists to keep, putting that question on his mind. And maybe when it comes to England, we go have a word with Dana White because they said they're coming to England in the summer.
Yeah,
It's going to be a pay-per-view.
yeah. We'll go and we'll wear African natives there and we'll ask African questions. So,
Exactly.
Mr. Dana White, can you tell us why? Can you not go to Africa? It is unfair. You go to Brazil. We know that when you go to Brazil, you don't make that much money.
They don't make money in Brazil.
Come, you go to Mexico. Come to Africa. What is the problem? Anyways, moving on. Let's quickly talk about Manel Kape. Ladies and gentlemen, Manel Kape is a Portuguese Angolan, which makes him one of our alumni of African fighters. He was meant to fight Nicolau for the second time in his UFC career, but unfortunately that fight fell off. Now Manel Kape, in his last, I'm just going to count the cancelled fights I can
I
see
think
on
he
his
has like
Tapology
9.
record here.
He has like 9.
Well, in the UFC, Manel Kape has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, in the UFC, he has had 8 cancelled fights,
You can imagine. So
and
I was in far off.
he has fought 5 times. In his last 5 announced fights, he only got to fight twice.
You can imagine.
Actually, we can even push it back further. In his last 7 announced fights, he only fought twice. That's crazy. So his fight with Nicolau got cancelled twice, back to back. The first time wasn't his fault; it was Nicolau's fault. The second time was his fault. Well, not his fault actually. He got injured. Prior to that, he was meant to fight Kai Kara France in Australia, where Kai Kara pulled out because of injury, and then he fought a Brazilian kid called Felipe dos Santos, where he won. Before that, he was supposed to fight Davison Figueiredo, who used to be the flyweight champion, but Figueiredo moved up weight and decided to cancel the fight. Before that, he was supposed to fight Alex Perez, that got cancelled. Then he got his fight in 2022, which was against David Dovrak. Then before that, he was supposed to fight Rogerio Bontorin and Su Mudaji. So, as we know now, this fight with Nicolau got cancelled, and he did put out a statement on his Instagram apologizing about the injuries and the things he's going through and all of that. Do you think it's bad luck, or what's up with Manel Kape? Is it that they are doing some juju for him from the village? What is going on? What is going on with that guy?
His village people are seriously on his matter. It's just a crazy run of bad luck, right? And it's crazy how it stacks up. I think at some point he had issues with weight cut. At some point he had issues with weight cut, right? And I think for me, I feel like in that weight class, he should have gotten the title shot instead of that guy that's ranked number 10. So, but then, like, if you keep having recurrent issues of pulling out of fights, how would the UFC be confident to hand you?
And he also has issues with weight cut because
He has issues.
I misspoke. His first fight that got cancelled against Nicolau pulled out because Manel Kape was above weight, which is understandable. You cannot risk your spot in the standings by going to take a fight recklessly like that. We saw what happened to Cameron Simon.
So
it's so unfortunate and sad. I think
he has to move up in weight.
Yes, I understand that, but he is very, very close to a title shot in the flyweights. So moving up is like he's going to start from scratch again, unless they give him a ranked opponent to fight.
He should get ranked.
So yeah, so if he gets a ranked opponent to fight, then that'll be okay.
I feel he probably thinks he's too small for bantamweight, but he's a bit too big for flyweight. So
yeah, who is the bantamweight champion? Sugar.
Yeah, Sugar Sean O'Malley. That
and Sugar is there's a lot. There's a length issue there.
There's a gap between them. So he probably needs
shout out to Manel Kape, man. I wish him nothing but the best. I really, really I really, really don't like giving advice and being like, oh, just move up a weight class, but it's starting to
No,
look like that. I understand
it's
the last cancelled fight is not weight related, but still, I know it's not fun cutting weight for fighters. So,
it's not fun at
um,
all.
all right, moving on. Last night we had Curtis. He came off the couch and he fought to a split decision against Allen, a very close fight. I think you saw that fight and you were really, really all praises for Curtis. It almost looked online, it almost looked like Curtis won that fight. I saw Sean Strickland
Yeah, to
talking
me,
about.
Curtis won that fight. To me, Curtis won that fight. I still don't understand how Allen won that
Mhm,
last round because going into the last round, right, it was
mhm,
2-2, right, 2 rounds
mhm,
apiece. So that last round, Curtis dominated the round until the end of the round. I think the last 30 seconds of the round, and Allen had this flurry of shots, damaging Curtis. And Curtis
mhm,
actually had, I think, like a muscle pull or something, right? And
mhm.
probably had an hamstring injury. So that was the reason why Allen was able to achieve that flurry of strikes. So he was attempting takedowns, and Curtis was getting back up. But then I feel like he did not apply his fight IQ properly because he should have done ground and pound. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't understand how Allen won that fight. But all the judges gave the last round to Allen.
He
So
shot you. He shot you. He
it
shot
shocked
you.
you, have it no shock you the way the judges
I'm
gave that
shocked.
round too?
I am shocked. I am shocked. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comment section should explain why Allen should have won that fifth round. I still don't understand. Maybe I
All
need
right,
to go watch.
let's talk about Allen's progression, right? Allen was supposed to fight Marvin Vettori, but that fight got thrown away. So now, what do you think should be next for Allen, right? Should we rebook that Vettori fight, or should he
Mm,
continue his rematch tour, basically fighting Sean Strickland again, or maybe the winner of Jared Cannonier versus Imavov?
yeah, yeah. I think
These are all interesting fights, but what would you think? Would you think like stylistically his style is something that is exciting for you that you would want to see him at the top of that division fighting these guys?
I don't find him exciting, to be very honest. That's me, my personal opinion. But my opinion may not count. I don't see him
Yeah,
as
but
exciting.
That Vittori fight should raises a lot of eyebrows for me as well. I would like to see a Vittori fight. I actually do like Vittori. He did get some shine when he fought Izzy, and some personality came out that made him very unlikable. But I still like him. Um, however, lately he has been all talk and no results. But I liked how he beat Costa, that Paulo Costa, that we have now realized that that secret juice that he has is not all that.
See, I think the fight with Costa was very close, and people were hating
Mm,
on Costa because he
mm,
missed weight and he was
mhm,
unapologetic about it. So they have to fight at light heavyweight, not even at middleweight, if you recollect that fight.
mhm.
So it was
Fair.
a very, very close fight. So I think I'm not sure if it was a split decision, but I feel like it was a very, very close fight. I recollect very well. It was close.
Begs the question about what position Sean Strickland is at the moment. Sean Strickland is a household name now. He's a very, very popular name now. I
And
believe Sean Strickland, when next he fights, he should headline whichever fight it's going to be because I think he has the capacity to carry a pay-per-view right now from being a champion.
yes,
He's very popular now. So I have a proposition for you, right? Do you think that in that middleweight, right? Kamaru Usman has said he is a middleweight, all right, and he doesn't have an opponent. And Kamaru Usman has beaten Sean Strickland in the past before. Kamaru Usman is in one of those positions as well where he's a big name and he can headline a card even if it's not for a title. Do you
Mhm.
think the UFC might? I think this might have been a great fight to add into UFC 300 main card. However, do you feel like that fight is something that could headline a pay per view or maybe be a co-main of a pay per view? I'm talking about Sean Strickland and Kamaru Usman too.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like that would be a very good co-main event if they were to bring Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler in, because
Mm,
there's no way you bring Conor back and that fight is not going to be a pay-per-view. So Conor has in recent years been that pay-per-view fight that is non-title. And if you have a non-title pay-per-view card, it has to be stacked, right? So imagine Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler headlining, Kamaru Usman, Strickland, co-main event, then go get some other ex-champions, a third fight. So that would make a lot of sense. I see that kind of situation happening.
Yeah, that's actually very good. We could also have Kobe Covington versus Shafkat in there if you would agree to fight Shafkat.
Kobe versus Ian Gary. Yeah, because they've been.
Those guys. Yeah, those guys have already started beef. I think that would be interesting to go into a McGregor card because Ian Gary is Irish, so he would like to be on his Irish brothers card. That makes sense.
So
I think we're calling it. I think
already.
we're calling it right now. I think that Conor McGregor card will have Ian Gary and Kobe on it, and likely Usman and Strickland, unless something changes in the middleweight title picture. But however, let's move. Speaking about pay-per-views and big pay-per-views, let's move to UFC 300. I am super stoked about it, but I know I'm not as stoked as you are.
Whoa! I'm so happy.
There is an African artist called Kiss Daniel, right?
There is God, oh.
Yes, there is God. There's this African artist called Kiss Daniel. He had an album that is called No Bad Songs. And UFC 300, if UFC pay-per-view is an album, then it will be that Kiss Daniel's album because there is no bad matchup in that card. Everything head to toe has a different sprinkle of flavor. You would not get bored because all the fights are not the same. You would sit down and start watching from the beginning of the prelims, and then when you're sat there, it's all done, super excited. The next one, you'll be like, wow. So now my question is about, well, it's not my question actually, it's from Christopher Graham. Christopher Graham from our Patreon did say, UFC 300 rank the fights according in order of excitement. What excites you the most from top to bottom? I know we can spend the whole day doing this, but I would rather we do the main card, 5 fights that you start from the main event to the 5th fight. I want you to rearrange for me according, in your biased opinion, the fighters that you are excited to see and put them in that 5. Let me start with you. You go first.
I think the main event, I'll keep it at that, right? The co-main event, to be honest, I'm not very excited about it. Not very excited about the co-main event.
Okay. Why don't you tell us the main event that you're talking about, and then you talk about the co-main instead?
Okay. So the main event, that is Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira, right? That is fireworks anytime, any day, right? But given who I am, right? I actually wish that it was Pereira versus Izzy. I would have loved to see Izzy in that McQueen card. But to be honest, right? Hill versus Alex Pereira is a barn burner. So co-main event. My co-main event would have been Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. That fight is crazy. That fight is crazy. Even though I'm not happy about the fight because I feel like it's high risk, low reward for Max Holloway. But let's see. Let's see what happens. It's a fan favorite. Yeah, the biggest winners are the fans, and the biggest losers are the fighters in that fight.
And number 3.
Number 3, Charles Oliveira versus Arman Saruki. That fight. Damn, that fight is massive. And I don't care about Bo Nico, to be honest. So the next one,
number 4.
Number 4 would be Jiri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic.
Okay. Let's go. Number 5.
Number 5 would be Aljo. Artemis Deli versus Calvin Keita.
Yeah. So
yeah,
few talking points from your list. I have realized that you are a woman hater.
I'm not a woman hater. You know me. I love women MMA. I love women. I love women, but nah. I wouldn't see this one. I would rather even see Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. ahead of that co-main event. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited for Holy
Okay.
Hall versus Killer Harrison.
That's really good. That's really good. If you would ask me, I agree. I agree with most of the fights you pick, but I'm going to switch the opposition. Right? So the my main event is going to be the same main event, Jamal Hill versus Pereira, and I want to see Jamal Hill take that title. Really, really excited for that fight. Big fan of Jamal Hill, very goofy character. He's one of those fighters that just came out of nowhere, no explanations. He's just really good at beating people up, and hence why he was a former champion and he would likely be another champion. As much as I like Charles Oliveira, I'm gonna remove him from my top five. So
Whoa.
my
No
co-main,
slander
my
on
co.
Charles Oliveira is allowed, please. Put him back, put him back.
Wait, my co-main is my favorite boy Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. There's a lot of talk about this fight being cancelled, and I think even if it get cancelled, is Max Holloway trying to chase Ilya Topuria, trying to avoid this fight because it will be good for him. But regardless, I'm gonna put in the
If I'm
co-main
his manager, I will pull him
Is
out.
Dustin freaking Gaethje. Absolutely love Dustin. He's best buds with my favorite fighter of all time, Kamaru Usman. So he's in there. Kamaru will likely be in his corner, so that'll be good. Um, the third fight, I'm pushing up Prohaska versus Rakic. Big fan of Jiri. Big fan of Jiri. I love to see Jiri in there because this list I'm putting for you, the top five fights I'm putting for you. If you're a betting man, those fights will not get to the judges' scorecard, as we know. I've told you the main event Pereira Jamal Hill will not see judges. The co-main Justin Gaethje versus Holloway, someone's head is gonna
Never,
get taken off.
never.
Third, Prohaska versus Rakic. I don't think Prohaska has ever seen a judge in his life. So, so,
Oh,
so
fun fact. Jiri Prohaska,
yeah.
he's from Czech
hmm
Republic, right?
No, I think he is. Is he Polish? No, no.
No,
He's
he's
Czech,
from Czech.
Slovakian or something. Well, I
Yeah,
can't
it's from Czech
remember. Sorry.
Republic. So fun
hmm
fact, right? When I first came to London, I stayed in an Airbnb, and the host of the Airbnb is from Czech Republic, and he was telling me,
Mm,
that, oh, his father was the referee of Jiri's first professional fight back home.
damn.
So, but then back then he was seeing the judges' scorecard.
Damn. Um, Prohaska, yeah, he's Czech. I just checked now.
Yeah, it's from
Damn.
Czech
Did you
Republic.
hear my rhyming? He's Czech. I just checked.
Yeah, because I remember he
Um.
was headlining an event at that time, 2022.
Okay. Okay. So moving on. That's not my third fight. Prohaska in there. My fourth fight. Huh. A bit of a ice head scratcher. You know me. I'm not a fan of women MMA. I'm
I'll
not gonna
joke.
be. I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not a fan of the flyweights and some of the bantamweights, or most of all of the bantamweights. I'm not a fan of them.
Not
I
really.
like big men. I like big men. I know that sounds wrong, but I like to see big sweaty men fight. I like a meat fest.
Put your sweat. Put your sound. Put your sound.
God,
Put your
oh,
sound.
there is God, oh, there
Good.
is God, oh.
Good. That's good.
Anyway, so Prohaska Rakic in there. Another fight I would like to see in there. I like to see Bonico in there. Bonico versus Brondage.
Why?
That'll be my fourth fight, and you know why?
Tell me why.
Bec- because so far Bonico has been flawless in the UFC,
I feel that boy
grappling
is overhyped, to be very honest.
and striking. So that's why I want him to be high in this position. And with the hype, when you are so hyped up, you are going to go in there feeling like because he's undefeated, he'll feel like a Robocop. He'll go in there and feel like nothing can hurt him, so he can either hurt the person or get hurt. So I like that mixture there. So that is going on for me. So definitely, it's either he's going to be reckless, Bonico, and get finished, or he's going to finish Brundage. So that's going to be my fourth fight, and my fifth fight, because of how biased I am, a solid Nigerian boy fresh out of his Disney debut of being in a Disney animation. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Sodiq Yusuf versus Lopez. Exciting fight. These guys are going to swing and try to take the heads off. Super Sodiq has the quickest submission in the featherweight history of UFC. So Super Sadiq in his last outing wasn't very convincing because he fought a legend, Barbosa, and a legend. But this time he is the underdog, and he's only in this fight card because he's there to make Lopez look good. And I'm sure that Sadiq is going to take that into account and shock people. So if you're a betting man, if you want to bet, you're reminding me. So if you're a betting man and you are betting on one fight, bet on Sadiq to finish Lopez. So that's going to be my fifth fight. So that's my top 5 of the UFC 300 according to the fights I'm interested to see. I'm going to reiterate it. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. The main event, the co-main is going to be Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. The third fight is going to be Yuri Prohaska versus Rakic. The fourth fight is going to be Bo Nickal versus Brondage. And the fifth fight and last fight is going to be Super Sadiq Yusuf versus Lopez. So that's it. If you're in the comment section, you want to give a shout, yes, please do drop yours in there. And while you are at it, please hit a like, hit the like button. It's free. You could just hit it. You don't have to pay. Yes, you don't have to pay. Just hit it. All right. Can't wait. So before I move on, tell me, where are you going to watch this card? Are you going to go to a bar? Are you doing like a little watch party at home, or are you going to have some people over? What's the plan?
Wow. I'm just thinking about it now. I think I need to organize a watch party.
Okay.
I do have to organize it. That card is too stacked to watch alone. There has to be a lot of Red Bull and coffee.
The last time I was in your house, I got PTSD because that was the last time I was in your house. I saw Usman versus Leon Edwards. That was very disappointing.
It was not my fault.
Yeah, right. Anywho, moving on. The next question, I think we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about quickly about the PFL. The PFL one happened. Not very exciting, to be honest. A little bit underwhelming. I didn't see everything, but however, there's a question here about the scoring system of the PFL. So according to Christopher Graham, he says the PFL scoring system makes no sense. 2 first-round KO wins and a first-round KO loss equals 12 points. 3 decision wins only equals 9 points. A way to make this better would be 5 points for a win and a bonus for a finish in round 1, 2, 3. Any thoughts about this? The thing is, there was a time I was listening to Joe Rogan and he was talking about all the gimmick around the scoring system of PFL, and I agree. The PFL, the scoring system is very difficult to follow, even for MMA. Even for MMA fans, it is difficult for them to follow. Talk less about casual fans. We know that this sport, the fighting sports or any business, should cater to casuals, right? Not diehards, because casuals is where the money is at. So the UFC model is there's no tournaments, it's just this guy fights this guy and this guy fights this guy. There's an A side, there's a B side. But PFL, they do this weird rules, weird point system, and we know, yes, we know that point system, when we watch football, when they do group stages in football, it's pretty much straightforward, right? 3 points to win, 1 point to draw, and 0 to lose. And that makes me bring this Kamaru Usman's promotion, African Knockout. They also have a championship going on, and the championship is sort of like football. You win, you get 3 points. If you get a finish, a submission or a TKO or whatever, you get 1 extra point. That's the bonus point. If you win unanimous, 3 points. If you lose, 0 points. That's straightforward. There
Straight.
is no need for, at what point
And
did
if
you
you
get a
draw one
finish?
point,
What type of KO? Instead of all this gimmick that is making it hard for us to follow. We love the sports and it's difficult for us to follow. It only makes sense to the person that puts the thing together. And to be honest, it's not gonna catch on. They've been trying to get it to catch on, but it's not gonna catch on. I thought after they did the Bellator deal, they are going to kind of like open up a bit to make it much easier if they are going to continue with the score with the point system. I understand the $1 million is very eye catchy for the fighters and for the fans as well to know that these guys are fighting for $1 million. So I agree with Christopher Graham. I'm not really a big fan, but what say you, man?
bro, like I said, I think it's a very American thing. Americans like complicated, scoring systems. For a country that calls that weight system in what do you call
Pounds.
it now? Pounds, right? The only time I
Mm-hmm.
think about pounds is when I'm spending money, bro. And then for people that would measure distance in miles, right? And volume of liquids in gallons.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect from
You
those
know,
kind of people?
you know
What
the Americans, they just like big numbers. It's a big
they like,
country, big everything big.
complicated
So
thing.
if an American watches football and he sees football, I'm talking about soccer for
Soccer.
American audience. If they watch it and they see a game ends 1-1, they'll be like, "Why are you watching? Only 2 goals, only 2 points." I'll be like,
Yes,
"Yeah."
uh-huh.
Because here's the thing: if football soccer was an American thing, I promise you, those guys are going to complicate the scoring system. They will probably be like, if you score from outside the 18-yard box, that's 3 points. If you score from inside the 18-yard box, that's 2 points. Because look at it, American football, that NFL that they play, if they score a touchdown, it's 6 points. Then after you get the 6 points, you take a penalty that you get 2 points, I be 3 points. And before you know it, this team that faced this team, the original score, when you look at it, they only scored a goal, an American football goal, once or twice. Maybe let's say if you translate it directly to soccer, a game will be 2-1, right? A game that is 2-1 in American football in real life in soccer without adding all those extra points, right? If you is if you look at it after the end of the game, you see that the game was like 21-8 or 22 something something something. So it's actually an American thing
Mm-hmm.
that
It's crazy. But just make it
yeah,
just make it simple.
because like if you look at the NBA as well, the NBA, the scoring system of the NBA, they are now trying to bring a 4 point line or 4 point zone because if you shoot a 3 pointer from outside
Oh,
the three
yeah,
point
from
line,
outside.
it's 3 points. If you score a field goal from inside the 3 point, then it's 2 points, right? And that's why a game will finish 100 and something,
Yeah,
100 and something.
very, very, very big
So
numbers.
yeah, so they feel like the bigger the number, the higher the entertainment value, the excitement value. They kind of have a point, but still it's difficult for us to catch on
Yeah, because you
PFL,
have a European,
relating it back to
you have a
PFL.
European mind.
Just yes, just keep it simple. Don't add all this American point system, man. We just
Look
like
at their
simple things. We
odds.
don't want to overwork our brains. Come on, man.
Look at their odds.
Because
You
I'm
see
telling
plus 100, plus 1,000, minus something.
that's that's one of the reasons that turns me off from cricket. I don't understand the scoring system. Just make someone score and call it 1 or 2. You don't have to put a bunch of numbers in there. Well, that's just me though.
Is what it
That's
is.
just me.
You sure?
Um moving on. Any thoughts about WrestleMania 40? All
I
right,
have
guys,
no thought.
WrestleMania 40. This is my own. You don't know anything about pro wrestling. I am actually these days I am actually more excited about pro wrestling than UFC.
Wow.
So WrestleMania 1 happened last night. WrestleMania 2 is going to happen this night. WrestleMania 1, we saw Cody, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. However, in the space of pro wrestling, what is most interesting for me right now is CM Punk went on Ariel Helwani. As you know, Ariel Helwani, he went on Ariel Helwani and he spilled the beans about his former pro wrestling company AEW where he was fighting, and he ran down the owner Tony Khan. And now for retaliation, because CM Punk got fired from the company for fighting backstage. In retaliation, now the owner of that company is going to air the CCTV footage of CM Punk fighting backstage. So it's very chaotic. I would love to see what's going on there. That's really interesting. And tonight, Cody Rhodes is going to finish his story. Hashtag we want Cody. Very, very exciting time for pro wrestling. Very, very booming period in pro wrestling. Whether you are not a wrestling fan, pro wrestling will always come on your feed right now. And I promise you that you are sat here. How many times have you seen something about pro wrestling in this past few weeks?
To be honest, I think it has been shown on my feed.
Uh-huh.
Because I think there's some major event coming up, and even TKO made some announcement saying UFC 300 and one WrestleMania thing is coming up. I'm like, okay, just pass it. Anytime I see it, I just scroll, please scroll.
So easy. The business is very hot right now. Christopher Graham is a huge fan, as I am. I think one of
Even
these
on
days,
Twitter, it's
Christopher.
trending.
Yeah, all the time, all the time. After Super Bowl, one of the biggest entertainment event is WrestleMania in America, right? It's huge. It's a huge deal. It's a
It's
huge deal.
crazy. Like I can never bring myself to accept it. Maybe in the future.
WWE are gonna go to Scotland soon. They're going to Scotland.
Are you gonna go?
It's too far. It's too far, man.
Why? Come on.
They're also having an event in Birmingham in June. I think I might likely go to that Birmingham one, but I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll find an excuse to tell my wife first. That is
Scotland is just an hour flight away.
if she's not listening to this podcast. Scotland, it's a
Yeah.
train. It's a train ride away. I think it's going
Uh,
to be in.
no, the
It's
train
an
is.
arena. It's an arena event, so it's gonna sell out quickly, and the tickets will be expensive. So I'm not gonna bother myself.
Oh
If it
wow.
was a stadium event, I might likely get a ticket because the UK
Okay,
they
fair
like
enough then.
tickets go like that.
It's it's a crazy one in the UK, you know.
Yeah, I know, I know. When I was trying to go see Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, the tickets were like at 700. I was like, shit,
And you know
I'm
the
not going.
interesting thing, they actually offered me the VIP tickets ahead, I think for like £1,000.
Well,
If I
Oga,
had known.
why will I give Dana White my £1,000? Do you know how much is £1,000 in naira? That's almost 2 million naira. Two
Yeah,
million naira. You can buy plot of land back home and start a fishing pond, a fishing business, build a fish pond.
I already have fish ponds in Nigeria, so
Oh,
tell
do
me
you
about
do you? God,
you have
I
VIP
think
meet and greets with that kind of
I've
ticket.
been I've been thinking about it. And Farouk also has a fish pond, fish business as well. Did you talk about Farouk about it?
Yeah,
This
definitely.
fish, this fish thing, this fish thing. I think I'm going to leave it. I think business opportunity if you're watching this and you're Nigerian is probably an event center because Nigerians like to marry too much. So they marry and
Oh,
they like party. So and you can install a CCTV in your event center. So your people that are managing it cannot lie to you and tell you there's no event that happened. So your money will just be coming. Think about it.
but
If you want us to sit down and plan for that, we can work this together and start a business for event center. What do you think?
they will tell you NEPA is taking light.
You get CCTV, they see everything until they connive and go and break the CCTV and tell you that thief have thief
You
it.
don't get they will bypass the thing. Nigerians.
Omo, Nigerians, eh? Well, how are you managing? Is it like your family that are taking care of your fish pond?
I'm not the direct owner. I'm just a shareholder. So it's
Oh,
a
okay.
business. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's safe because, man, if you have business and you're not there, bro, it's as Nigerians will just use your business and party.
Nigerians, right? Never to be
All right.
trusted.
All right. I think that's it. I think a sweet spot to end this is 50 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we did not spend too much time. I understand. I understand that We skimmed through a lot. Shout out Christopher Graham. Shout out to all the people watching us. If you catch this later and you're not in the live stream, we appreciate you. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. It's very free. You don't have to pay anything. And happy birthday, King Dems. Happy birthday, my brother.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. Did you get yourself one of these?
Oh, whoa. Yeah, maybe you should get me for my birthday. You should get me the UFC belt for my birthday.
I should buy you a UFC belt for your birthday. Okay, no problem.
Definitely. I'll
No
be
problem.
expecting you in the mailbox. Oh, wow. I remember you still owe me my gift from last year. You said you
I
ordered something
know.
for me, but
I
you should
ordered
also
some. I ordered something for
Oh,
Izzy. I ordered something Easy T-shirt. I bought two. Not this one.
oh.
Not this one. I ordered two, but it got lost in the mail. And I reported. I told them it got lost in the mail, and they refunded me. So I ended up just being like, okay, fine. No wahala.
Oh, I
Okay,
forgot
so
to ask. I forgot to follow up. So you need to buy another Israeli on your shirt there.
no wahala, my brother.
Yeah.
That one a small thing. That one a small thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. And before we go, I just want to say,
There is God, oh. There is God, oh.
all right, all right, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Love, peace, hugs, kisses. Bye.